Hey guys, thanks for joining us. It's Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware grilling expert. We are hanging out in the barbecue trailer here. It is a cold night in Colorado, so we thought we would warm it up with a viewer request. That's right, your comments led us to where we are today, and we are making Mom's Meatloaf on the Traeger Ironwood. So we thought we'd do a nice, easy, comfortable dish today, really to get you warmed up and in the mood for some cold weather grilling. Today, super simple, super easy recipe, fun to follow along. Be sure to head down to the description down below and you can click the link for the recipe, print it, and follow along with us as well. And then if you want to get into the world of grills and gear and gadgets and all that cool stuff, click that little eye up there. That is our information station. That'll let you know from time to time all the cool stuff we're cooking with today. So I think it is time to get into this recipe. We need to get outside first and get that grill started. So let's head out and get the Traeger fired up, and then we're making some awesome meatloaf. Today we're going to be on the Ironwood 885 Perfect Grill, right? Absolutely wonderful for giving this meatloaf good flavor. Hey, one of the questions we get a lot is, listen, I'm new to the Traegering world and my family doesn't like heavy smoke. Maybe that hickory and mesquite are a little too strong. Today, we went ahead and went with apple. I love this. It is a really good, neutral, easy flavor, right? It's gonna give some wood-fired fun, but it's not gonna be the only flavor we have in there. Beautiful, beautiful pellets. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to set this guy to 375 degrees. Get that all dialed in. Hit enter. It is time to ignite. And we are good to go. A little bit cold here today in Colorado, but the beauty of that, a little bit of cold weather warm up, and then this Ironwood is going to be kicking nice and hot for us. So let's get back in and let's do a little bit of prep and get this meatloaf grill ready. Okay, let's take a minute to walk through ingredients. As you can see, not a lot in here, right? This is going to be really easy and really simple. We didn't want to have this huge elaborate meatloaf. We just wanted a meatloaf that was easy, fast for you to do when you're getting ready to make dinner for the family, but flavorful, something that everyone is going to love. It's going to become a hit, and it's really going to let you utilize that Traeger to get the family fed and make everybody happy. We've got 3 extra large eggs. That's what we're going to start off with. That's going to give our meatloaf a little bit of binder, a little bit of fluff. Squeezed tube garlic, absolutely fantastic. Your hands won't smell like garlic. I have a white and orange cheddar blend, a cup of that. I've got a 1/4 cup of diced red onions. I have a cup of panko breadcrumbs. Now, I use the panko breadcrumbs because I like them. They're a little fluffier. They're a little bigger. It seems like when I use the heavily ground breadcrumbs or the finely ground breadcrumbs, my meatloaf gets like super ballish. It gets very dense. It gets very firm. These guys add a little bit more fluff. And I'm going to add these kind of as needed. I may not need all of them. Ground beef. I went with a ground chuck today. I wanted it to eat like a burger. I wanted it to have a little bit less mushiness to it and a little more firmness. So I went with ground chuck. I also went with 80-20. And the reason behind the 80-20 is we're going to drip and lose a little bit of fat in the cooking process, right? We're going to lose probably about 10%. So if I go too lean on here, and maybe a 90-10, I'm going to end up with a really dry meatloaf. So the 80-20 should result in about a 90-10 finish. And then we're going to do a little bit of bayou dust and a little bit of tiki just to have some fun and get some good flavor in here. And then instead of ketchup, we're going with a little bit of our high altitude barbecue sauce. So that's it. Those are the ingredients. Super simple, super easy. Next up, it's time to mix the meatloaf, divide it into our 2 loaves, get it out on the Traeger. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our ground beef in there. Get that guy all set. A little bit there, a little bit there. And we're going with 2 pounds of ground beef today because what we're going to do is divide this total mixture into 2. So we get 2 small loaves. Now, what I do, go ahead and just push this down a little bit like so, all right? I'm going to add my eggs, okay? I'm going to add all the cheese. That's 1 cup of cheese I'm going to add. I'm going to add the onions and get those guys in there as well. All right, little squeezed tube garlic if we want. And I'll use about, I don't know, let's say a tablespoon. So put a little bit there, a little bit there. We should be good and mixed in. Now, what we'll do is we're going to season to taste. So I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of bayou dust to get started. And about the same of tiki, about 2 tablespoons as well. And then as far as barbecue sauce goes, I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup in here into the meatloaf itself. Get that all set. That is a technical measuring job right there. So now Go ahead and get all this mixed up and get it all squished together here. Now, what I want to do is look at how wet that mixture is, right? It's pretty liquidy, right? We have a lot of stuff going on in here, and it is time to thicken it up just a little bit. So what I will do with it just roughly mixed, take a little bit of my breadcrumbs. So I have a cup. I'm going to sprinkle in about a half a cup. Now, what I'm going to do is slowly mix these guys in and let them activate. I want those breadcrumbs to absorb just a little bit of that moisture that's in here so they can kind of firm up or swell up or bind, if you will, for the technical term. But we want the meatloaf to bind, right? We want it to become firm. We don't want to have meatloaf falling apart on the grill. We want this guy to just come together. And now, you can see that, right? I mean, you can see how firm that is. That's got a nice squish to it. Nice and firm. And now I'm going to let it sit for just a minute because I want those breadcrumbs to swell even more. So we'll come back. It'll be time to double check this and divide it into 2 loaves. I want to form it into a ball. And if that ball falls or flattens, I know I'm not where I need to be. Now look at that. It holds nice and firm. So what we'll do is take half of this and divide this guy out. What I'll do again, form a ball and make a nice little loaf, right? Almost like a mini loaf. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, almost like a little football. Wait a minute, just in time for tailgating too. So go ahead and form this, mix it all up, get it set. And then get that guy set together there. All right, look at that. 2 nice mini meatloafs. Traeger is preheated to 375. We are set to go. Now what I'm going to do carefully is set that pan there for a minute. Put loaf number 1 and loaf number 2. Look at that, right on the grate. I'm not putting them in a pan because I want smoke around that entire meatloaf. So now we're going to close the lid, and we've got about 40 to 45 minutes before we take our first look. Okay, let's give this a check here and see where we're at. Looking good. Let's take temperature here right into the middle. And we are at 99, 100. So we're about 100 degrees. And what I want to do now is I'm going to let these guys go until they're about 145. So we'll go ahead and close this. But I'll tell you what, that is exactly what we wanted. Okay, we're just a few degrees away. So probably about 10 minutes away. Now I'm going to go ahead and start basting with a little bit of our high altitude barbecue sauce. I want this to glaze on there nice. I don't want it to become burned or charred, but just a nice little glaze. Use that brush, get it all set. So we'll let these guys finish. We have about 10 more minutes left. Then it is time to get in the trailer and eat. To our little doneness flyover. Look at that beautiful glaze, nice and juicy. Those are clear, beautiful juices running through. And look at that right there. That is a beautiful meatloaf. Nice little bit of smoke in there as well. And then we've also got a brioche bun in case you want to slice a little bit of that and make a burger. But I'll tell you what, look at that. That is fantastic. That is exactly what we're looking for. Well, what do you think? Super fast, super easy. Cooked it all on the Traeger, 375 degrees. Took us a total time of about 50, 55 minutes. Last little bit we spent glazing. But I'll tell you what, look at this absolute amazing meatloaf right there. Came out great. I'm super happy with the flavor, super happy with the results as well. And I'll tell you, definitely a great family and crowd pleaser for sure. So thanks so much for joining us for today's edition of Ace This Recipe. And a huge, huge thank you to Doug. Doug was one of our viewers on the Ace Hardware YouTube channel that said, hey, can you make meatloaf? Doug, meatloaf on the Traeger. Pretty solid as well. So huge thank you guys again, as always, for leaving your comments. And don't forget to head down below where you can grab the recipe in the comment section. You can click, print, and follow along, and then do what Doug did. Leave a message. Tell us what you like, what you would love to learn, how we can be helpful, or what recipe you'd like to see as well. And then while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. It is time. We used to have like 16,000 viewers. We now have like 26, 28,000. It is a pretty solid place to be. We're super excited. Thank you so much for subscribing. Tell everyone it is time to subscribe. You'll be notified when these recipes are live, plus some helpful tips from Lou as well. So thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoy cooking with us as much as we enjoy cooking with you. Hey, don't forget, at the end of this video, we've got a couple more videos ready for you to click, watch, and drool. So we want to get you geared up to become that legend in the backyard cooking circuit. Once again, I'm Chef Jason Morris, your Ace Hardware grilling expert. Thanks so much for joining us. Happy cooking. I almost forgot the most important part of this. I got to take a taste of this and make sure it's fantastic, because I'm bringing this home tonight for my family to eat. So, a little quality control. Never hurt anyone. That is amazing. We'll see you guys.